maybe you can share a little bit on, how you guys got into Cosmos, how you heard about it, and why you chose to build this on Cosmos and not on Ethereum to be like a direct inferior competitor in that sense, for example.
Yeah, great question. I'll just also mention that, when we were building in our journey to finding this, what lava is and how we're solving this issue, and is this a real issue? We went to also bridges and we went to different wallets that do MPC, like enterprise, and we talked with them and their teams to understand, do they trust data from centralized providers? And the answer was a resounding no. So internally, they've built a system that asks multiple providers and maybe their own nodes before this reaching a quorum and then deciding, is this data correct or not? So that's when we oh, okay, they're seeing it as a problem and they're trying to solve it. So we should definitely build a protocol around that is a public good and it enables everybody to get the same value that they're getting because they have a lot of money. So why did we choose Cosmos? So we actually didn't know too much about the Cosmos ecosystem. As I've said, my background was more and experience was more into Ethereum. But we were looking to build a sovereign chain because we needed the access to the core layer of the blockchain to ensure that we build the most scalable, fastest, most performant protocol. So that was key to us. And we looked at different solutions, all right? We looked at Avalanche, subnets. At the time was not as mature as it is now. I've heard it's much better now. We've looked into Polkadot, and we looked into Cosmos. And we looked into what's the most battle-tested ecosystem and what's the most battle-tested SDK. And Cosmos SDK was the number one. So we're like, okay, we have to use Cosmos SDK to build our chain. And this is the reason.
What exactly do you mean when you say battle-tested? Because I guess Substrate, which is the framework from Polkadot and Kusama, it has also been around for a long time. And Avalanche, I don't know how long they've been around, but also for quite a while. From a developer perspective and from a builder's perspective, why do you say that Cosmos has the most battle-tested SDK compared to others?
We just looked at other chains on the ecosystem, and Polkadot operates on a different consensus model, which we thought was a bit more difficult to get into. And we felt like you can really build a sovereign chain on Cosmos, and the tooling felt much better at the time. And we felt like we saw other chains go through massive amounts of transactions and saw that they handle it perfectly. So even at times of many, many transactions, the throughput was pretty good. And the community is pretty good as well. So we thought it was...
Yeah, I feel so as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm a community person, right? And I feel when I stumbled upon Cosmos, the amount of support you get from also other projects within Cosmos, even though on the paper they might even be some sort of competitor, I always felt like that this is different than in most other ecosystems in crypto. So it's interesting that you say that. But what are some of the others? I mean, Cosmos has so many different tech stacks, right? And also IBC, obviously, which is the flagship for Cosmos. Is that also something that was a decisive factor, all these other tech stacks and maybe IBC? And do you even use IBC? Does that bring any benefits for you guys? Or
yeah, IBC is amazing. We haven't implemented it yet, but we'll definitely for our mainnet have IBC. And we also, when we got into the ecosystem and started talking to other founders in the ecosystem, we just found the support to be incredible. Everyone wants to help and participate and, help you squash bugs and find the best solutions. So we felt like it was just the best fit for us.
Yeah, that's awesome. And let's go a little bit back maybe and talk a bit more about some of the more tangible stuff, like use cases, utilities that you guys bring to Cosmos. Maybe you can explain how is the current infrastructure, the current RPC infrastructure in Cosmos, and then when you guys are live, what is the go-to-market strategy? Are you going to be integrating with most dApps in Cosmos, also with Kepler maybe, or what are some of the use cases that it will bring to Cosmos to improve the infrastructure in Cosmos?
Yeah, so what's interesting about Cosmos is that every chain is like a silo. It's like its own development world where people build tools and RPCs and everything from scratch sometimes. So when we were starting to build RPCs for Lava over Lava, so you can get the same access to Lava over our protocol, we were thinking, we should probably just take the RPC that we're building now for Lava and just duplicate it and give it to other chains so that we can integrate with the entire ecosystem. And we're talking to the top tier chains to bring them on board and have them participate. And the way it works is that users can, and by users I mean dApps and application-specific chains, they can buy service from Lava, and that incentivizes node runners on the chain. So instead of the chain itself subsidizing public RPCs, subsidizing node access, they can help by paying Lava and make that happen on the provider side. So it basically brings more people to run nodes for the chain. So we're targeting dApps, we're targeting application-specific chains, and many more.
Yeah.